Thanks, Tarvinder, and thank you everybody here for giving me this opportunity. And actually, I think most of the things that I want to say has already been spoken by most of the speakers earlier. So I'll try to cut it short as much as possible. I just want to relook at the whole broadband policy of 2004, which talked about 20 million broadband by 2010. I think when we look at the numbers, the actual numbers, in terms of wireline broadband, the numbers may be around 7 million subscribers. But I don't really have the actual number of people using GPRS, but if we really add those, we probably have reached the target. So we are not really very off when we talk in terms of reaching the target. So 115 million. So really we have reached the target. Now in terms of how this particular broadband is getting consumed may vary from person to person, but we do have the target. Now the real challenge that we have is how to get to the the bottom of the pyramid. How do we take it to the masses is the real challenge. And when we talk of the masses, we really start talking in terms of the rural areas as well. And so anyway, this is the same slide which talks about how it's distributed, and if you can look at it, most of it is on DSL, on wireline, and the major broadband providers. This is BSNL has the maximum coverage in terms of wireline. They are covering the maximum today. So I was just going through when I was looking at what are the factors what has probably prevented people from going into and really enjoying the broadband the way most of the people are enjoying today in terms of going to the Facebook, downloading video. So when you start talking of those kind of speeds and those kind of usability, then the three factors which came to the when I started studying, I came out with three factors which basically led to the low penetration of broadband in India. The first one is the low affordability levels, and the second was high cost of rural expansion. The third one was a limited range of services. If we look at this particular slide, if you look at the income levels of the people today in the rural areas are very, very low. Most of the population has an income of probably less than $100 a month. And when we look at the cost of owning a PC, which is primarily looked at a device for really having a good experience on the internet, it really comes out more than almost $500 a year. Now that's where there seems to be a big bottleneck in terms of people able to consume the internet and experience the way where the top profile, the income level people are experiencing. And I really agree with the idea of this, the television being one of the barriers through which we can consume internet. The second, one way, if once we start having, PCs which are at a very, very low cost, maybe a sub, $100 PC bundled with the internet, I think people will start, more and more people will come and start, using internet. And this is, and one of the other reasons where we think, the internet could have more penetration. If you look at the whole, the voice communication, initially we had wireline, and then the government went around and opened up the whole PCO. And it really opened the whole communication. PCO provided a platform to people to actually go out and talk. Once they started talking, they were talking on somebody else's devices. And slowly, when it becomes, affordable, they started owning their own devices. Similarly, I see the role of the government plan. The government is planned to open at more than 1 lakh, community service centers across the country. They are putting up kiosks across the country where people can go and start experiencing internet. And once they start experiencing that, the next stage, the first stage is accessibility. We have to create a scenario where people have access to internet. And the next stage will be people will want to own the internet, and they will want to have a device which they can have on their own. And that's what I think this whole thing is going to fuel up the growth for the internet in India. And anyway, so the same, we talked about the factors which everybody has talked about earlier, so sorry, I'm not going to talk much into that. And of course, the same technologies, the different technology profiles, but ultimately, I think the way we have seen the penetration, looking at the cost of, delivering and looking at the cost of the infrastructure, I think ultimately is going to be the wireless technologies, which is going to be predominantly the bearer for all the, most of the internet in India. Unless you start looking at very, very, high speed, which is going to be consumed primarily in the urban areas. So these are the different, wireless technologies. We have GSM today, we have CDMA today, we already have EVDO out there, WCDMA, we've been talking about last 4 years. WiMAX has also started happening, BSNL has, started rolling out services in few circles. Airtel has done most on the fixed wireless side. And I think so we have more and more, wireless technologies which are high speed technology which are also, being deployed by various operators. And we should see much, higher growth into the broadband in the near future now. And so I think WiMAX is one technology which could be, which could provide, large coverage in the rural areas and could be, could be a good thing as far as the broadband technology is concerned. And so anyway, so just to, before I close, let me just give you a brief background about what we do. We basically help operators to plan for the broadband as well as the voice networks. That's what we do. We basically help them where to lay out your network, how to lay out your network, where to put your towers, where to put your cable. That's what we do. We provide them with the software, we provide them with the digital maps, we provide them with the consulting. Most of the telecom operators today are our customers, and these are kind of maps that we supply them, which helps them in planning the network. So thank you very much. I don't think I've said much new. Bye.